In this video, we're going to have a look at probability. And probability tells us about the likelihood of something happening. Probability can be represented in many ways. It can be represented as a decimal, as a fraction, as a percentage. The closer the probability is to 1, a whole, or 100%, the more likely something it is to happen. If we look at this diagram here, the probability of rolling a heads is 50-50 because there's 1 out of 2 ways to do something. If we look at the dice, there's a 1 in 6 chance of landing on a 4. Okay, so that's quite unlikely. Okay, so the higher chance that there is of something happening, the higher probability there will be. The probability is always going to be expressed in between 0 and 1. If you get a probability of 5.2, that technically doesn't make sense. We can't say that that is a probability. So to work out the probability of a situation, the probability of something happening, what we do is we look at the number of ways that it can happen and we divide that by the total number of outcomes that there are. Okay, this will become a wee bit more clear in a couple of examples. So, question 1. I think there's 3 questions altogether. George has 2 bags filled with coloured counters. Bag A has 3 red, 4 blue and 5 green counters. Bag B has 5 red, 8 blue and 4 green counters. In which bag would you have a greater chance of selecting a red counter? Justify your answer by calculation. Okay, so we want to figure out in which one are you more likely to get a red counter. So we need to figure out the probability of red in bag 1 and in bag 2. Okay, so we'll do our bag A. So the probability, we usually use a big capital P and we put the probability of what we're looking for inside of a bracket. So the probability of choosing a red in the first bag, well, how many reds are there? There are 3. And how many are there all together? Okay, so how many counters are in the bag? So it's 3 red, 4 blue and 5 green. 3 and 4 is 7 and 5 is 12. So there's a 3 in 12 chance of choosing a red in bag A. If we have a look at bag B and we work out the probability of choosing a red, we've got 5 reds in bag B and altogether there are 13, there's 17 counters altogether. So now we've written them as fractions, but it's still maybe not the easiest to compare. You might think initially bag B there's a better chance because there's more reds in there, but we need to think about this in terms of the whole. So what is probably a bit easier to do is to change these into decimals. So what we're going to do on our calculator is we're simply going to do 3 over 12, and remember that 3 over 12 means 3 divided by 12. And 3 divided by 12 on a calculator comes out to be 0.25. We'll do the same with bag B. We'll change this into a decimal. 5 divided by 17 is 0.294, blah, 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 blah. So you'll notice bag A has 2 decimal places, so we're just going to round bag B to 2 decimal places as well. So that's to 2 decimal places. So technically in bag A there's a 25% chance, and in bag B there's a 29% chance of choosing a red counter. It says justify your answer by calculation. We need to justify our answer. There is a better chance of choosing a red counter in bag B since 0.29 is more than 0.25. So this justification part at the end here is a wee bit wordy. It does take a wee bit of time. You need to figure out what the probability is as a decimal, and then you want to compare and write a statement to say which is better and have a numerical comparison in there. That was example 1. Question 2. A teacher asks 2 different classes if they are right-handed or left-handed. Class A, 6 out of 25 are left-handed, and Class B, 11 out of 31 are left-handed. In which class does any one person have a better chance of being left-handed? justified answer. This is the same sort of idea here, but we just need to kind of think about the scenario. So in Class A, it was 6 out of the total, and here the total is 25. Okay, so in the last example we had to add numbers together. Here we did not. So Class A, it was 6 out of 25. Class B, it was 11 out of 31. We change these into decimals. 6 over 25 on a calculator becomes 0.24. So that's what, a 24% chance? We do 11 divided by 31, and that's 0.354. And once again, I'm just going to make this to 2 decimal places. So that's 0.35. Okay, so we want to say which class has got the better chance. Well, 0.35 is more than 0.24. So there is a better chance of being left-handed in Class B, since 0.35 is more than 0.24. Okay, so once again we have to calculate the probability as the decimal, and then we write a statement at the end that relates to the context of the question and has a numerical comparison. Last one. Mary bought raffle tickets for the school raffle and the church raffle. Out of 500 tickets for the school raffle, Mary bought 15. Of the 200 tickets for the church raffle, Mary bought 5. In which does she have a better chance? This is talking about chance, the likelihood of something happening. So let's look at the school raffle. So she bought 15, and altogether there were 500. For the church raffle, she bought 5 out of 200. We can do this on a calculator to figure out our decimals. That's 0.075, 0.075, and the 5 out of 200 is 0.025. Okay, so if we have a look here, the school is like 7% or 7.5%, the church is 2.5%. So Mary's got a better chance at the school. Mary has a better chance of winning with at the church raffle. So that's me related it to the question. Since 0.075 is more than 0.025. And that's me there with my numerical comparison. Okay, so sometimes you need to add some values together to figure out the total. Sometimes you just need to read the question and figure out how many are there altogether. Okay, so we input there on probability. Thank you very much.